What's up, everybody? Welcome back to PLD Projects. Welcome to another episode of Review, Season 1 of 1, Episode 10, The Conversion. I am your host, PLD. I am with me, as always, the wonderful, the one I've forgiven for a lapse on her on the other channel the other day. We're forgiving you for a lapse so we can move forward. We'll talk about that in a second. Lego, first off, how are you?
Feeling called out. Feeling a little called out. Otherwise, lifey.
Like, it was breaking my heart on the Rob Fishbet Network a little bit. I wasn't on screen, so I couldn't even really get across how much I was a little betrayed. I felt a little heartbroken. I did say I had chest pains. I was trying to, in the chat, say it, but no, I forgive you. I understand, especially because you are a lot younger than me, so I understand it. It's a different generation, maybe for me, but I will forgive you. But we will have to have that show on the channel soon, where we go through all the music that you don't know. And but you know what? I should not be hypocritical. You should tell me all the music you know that I probably don't know as well. So we can
I
have
tried to do that with Rob, and then I ask questions like, "Who's Sting?" and everyone gets mad at me. What's a Jimmy Page?
What's a Jimmy Page? Well, you guys, it's okay. It's okay. We will teach her. We'll educate her. She'll come back stronger. She probably still won't give a fuck about him, but that's okay. At least she'll know.
Listen, I never paid attention to David Bowie. I didn't know he sang a song with Queen. Okay, I don't know, man. But go ahead. But I've watched over 1,100 horror movies. Okay, I wasn't paying attention to music. My sights were elsewhere. I read 20 books a year. Okay. My attention was elsewhere.
Okay, I'll let it go. I will say, like, all seriousness, all joking aside, I was surprised about your lack of David Bowie affection. I kind of felt like David Bowie was up your alley. So every once in a while, you really surprise me. Like, I think I have you pegged with something, and then all of a sudden you say, I'm like, I don't know a thing about you.
I listen to a lot of like French and Russian rap. Okay. A lot of North European like folk music.
Which sounds right up Bowie's alley, to be honest with you, because he's on everything.
A lot of classical, Baroque, romantic, like Bach, stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I actually I'm interested to hear some of that stuff. Maybe I'll even give it a listen, and we'll educate each other.
Right. I'm cultured. Okay.
Cultured.
I might not know your pop music. Okay.
We know what everybody else knows. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Legendary.
But that's the same. That's how I feel when I talk about books and movies to most people.
You know what? That does. Honestly, when you say it like that, I guess it does. It does track, and I really shouldn't be surprised. And yet I am. Yet I still am. I don't know. But you know what? It takes everybody to make up a world, and I'm excited, and I look forward to educating you, and I look forward to being educated. So that's why we can broaden our horizons, as it were. But that is another podcast for another day on a different channel, most likely. We are here talking, of course, by the 1984 television series V, which of course came out after the two miniseries from 1983 and 1984. We are about halfway through the series now. I believe this is the halfway point. If you count the unaired script that we are going to cover in a way, which is something I have to talk to you about how we're going to cover that. I have an idea that after your pitch to me earlier today, I think you'll approve of, I think. But we'll talk afterwards. Let's put it out there. Lego had some technical issues earlier and almost not able to watch the episode.
I had even more technical difficulties later. I about cried. I started this episode having a panic attack, still kind of having it. It's been a day. I feel like I'm gonna puke. It's great.
Well, I'm hoping we'll calm you down. We'll be good then. But it was an interesting pitch. You did pitch. me telling her exactly what happened, and then her reacting to it as I spoke it. And that would have been an interesting episode. I think I would have had to put my acting to the test. I would have started
See,
saying
but
some lines.
the thing about me is I'm a very dramatic person with a tendency towards very obvious facial and energetic vocal reactions. So I think it'd work.
Fair.
It,
That's
that
true.
being this dramatic had to come in handy at some point. It just had to.
Well, I was a theater major way back when, so maybe I could put that to attention to help you
Oh,
get
really?
your thing. Yes, I was. In fact.
Oh,
So
maybe
surprisingly
good
not, I
big
know.
things.
We can make something work. We'll have to find out. But we got through it. She got through a panic attack. She watched the episode. She knows what we're in store for her. She did see Willie in the rodent uniform.
So
Uh,
cute. But what
she
would his mother think?
like, oh my god! Imagine I would have to tell you about this, and you actually might picture him in the naked leotard wearing thing, because you would understand the new conversion process.
I just want to be in the writer's room. They're like, okay, and then we get Michael Ironside in the leotard.
Someone goes, "Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a good idea."
But which intern are we sacrificing? To tell him
Get Mark Singer to do it. Hey,
that
Mark,
it
can
would
you do
be shirtless in a nude underwear. I mean, did you see 5 buttons
it?
were off this man's shirt, popped off this man's shirt. He wasn't bringing what Charles was, which this man, we'll talk about Charles later, but I'm going to talk about his outfit now, was wearing a shirt that had no buttons, and it was just this straight open all the way down to this man's navel. He is a newborn in this world, just walking around, broadcasting all that chest.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to give too many spoilers away, but there is a episode coming up where Charles and Donovan go one on one with each other in a
Shirtless.
brawl.
Is it
Not
is it like is it like the Ponfar with Spock and Kirk?
not
Who's
quite.
gonna
No.
he? Come on.
But it is that same energy level. I think maybe that's the way we'll describe it. But yeah,
Do
it
they
is the
fight
original
with the giant like ear cleaners?
That actually happens later on in Donovan against somebody else. That actually does happen though.
Ooh.
So that's another thing to come to make you excited to watch the rest of the series.
I
Um,
mean, it's always so fun to watch people do that. I've
it
never
is.
figured out what they are, why they are,
Mhm.
how they are, but
Yeah,
watch it, it's fun.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's get to this week's episode, the conversion, as it's called. We open up with our usual our Freedom Network Medal of Honor given to Dixie Riley this week, who pulls an Independence Day a few years earlier again by using his home computer to hack into a visitor computer and prevents an attack on Memphis. How is this possible? It
I
wasn't
love
possible.
Independence Day. Independence Day is one of my favorite movies ever made. Roland Emmerich is just a god amongst directors. And you know what? He was right. This is a great plot. And you know what? Hats off to Dixie Riley for doing the thing. Way to what's the actor's name? Jeff
Dixie,
Goldblum is.
Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, fair, but okay. Fair. I guess this isn't the most unbelievable thing we've seen in the show, so I'll give you that. I will give you that.
Listen, computers work. And if you can figure out what what system they're using, because clearly we've known they use a similar system to us. That
That's
they
true.
just use binary code, right?
That's
So
true.
once you figure out what binary code, you can do it. You can do it. It is available for us to hack.
Well, I will say that this isn't the only time we use the Independence Day script, so get ready
Ooh.
for that. There's another time that's coming up that's I feel even worse, but we'll
I
go with
mean,
it.
we've mentioned before that the original miniseries is very similar to Independence Day.
Oh yeah.
Or well, I mentioned it because it is.
Yes. Oh no,
Now I
absolutely
want
no.
to watch
I happen
Independence
to it as
Day.
well. Might have to. Maybe we should watch. Maybe that'll be our bonus at some point. We'll watch that as a. We'll do like the
Yes.
inspirations or something like that. We can do that after we're done with everything else. when we're looking for more to do at that point.
I got thoughts on that speech. I got thoughts on the farmer dad. Just because you marry a stripper doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to go to space. I got feelings about
Absolutely.
this.
I agree on that. I definitely agree on that. We are sex work positive here on PLD projects.
That's not even sex work. That's just body positivity.
True. I mean, I guess it's in that realm, whatever you want to call it. That's what that's what the conservatives would call it, probably. The ones who are probably preventing him from flying up into space. So, all right. Well, we open up, speaking of things that we probably conservatives like, red shirt, black people here in the beginning of the episode. Another
I
black
wrote
person.
that too. A literal red shirt is a black man.
For the second time in this series.
The 80s were the worst.
They were a period of time that did exist. Absolutely. And I'm not going to lie. I loved the 80s because I lived them and I had a lot of fun. But yes, a couple of decades down the line, I see some faults that we had back then. Yeah. But you know what? He did get to use Ham Tyler's gun, so I got to give him that. At least he got to use the cool MAC-10 for a brief second before he was killed.
But Ham Tyler brought out a rocket launcher.
Yes.
I wrote, is that a rocket launcher? And then, of course it is.
Of course it is. And the funny thing to me is, like, Ham has the rocket launcher. The red shirt guy has the MAC-10 cool little machine gun rifle, and Kyle has like a shotgun. Like, what, Kyle? You have to have better weapons than that at this point. When you're fighting a war like that, it's almost like having a musket at this point. You got to do something a little better. But I did want to say right away, Cam and Kyle as a duo, which was not, we haven't seen that too often. At least we had the first time we saw.
Oh, they have a connection, PLD.
They do. Kyle is definitely a little bit of a mini Ham. He wants to be Ham. I feel like that's the case. Like he's too nice to be Ham, but he kind of wants to be that cool dude.
I think Ham's too nice to be Ham, if you really think about it.
Sometimes.
Just Ham's got a shield up, you know what I mean? Walls. He's got walls.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot of walls, which we see crumble down a little bit this episode, which is probably why I do like it so much. Like, I've always liked, that's one of my favorite kind of tropes in the show. We get the hard ass, you get kind of behind the scenes of the hard ass, and you get them to break it down a little bit. But so here is my plot point question number one. They just don't explain. One of those things they don't explain, and I guess they don't need to. But as I'm watching this for like the 40th time, I'm watching this critically for our show. Why are they moving the conversion chamber down to Earth?
Yeah. But then further, when we learn that, when we are introduced to Charles, we learn he has a new conversion thing.
Process.
So
right.
What was even the point?
Right.
And what were the good guys, the Resistance, going to do with the conversion chamber?
I think they were going to trash it. I think that was the idea, to trash it. But if that's the case, like I was under the assumption, I could be wrong, maybe this is a thing that they're trying to establish. Is there only one conversion chamber? Is there not?
I think that's what I was assuming.
I mean, I would think the Diane would still be able to recreate. I mean, I guess like destroy the Death Star, you can still whip up another one, but I guess you might as well destroy the conversion chamber while you have it. I guess.
Now I'm hoping it's like a contact thing. You know, they built two for the price of one.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, that just never. I was like, I don't know. There's no reason in my mind that had needed to be moved at all.
100%. Also, there was no reason that's what they needed to be doing, considering we have an entire different conversion thing coming up within the same episode. It could have just been moving more children to the underground churches.
Absolutely. That could have been a better product. Exactly.
Save the orphans. We need to think about them more often than just Christmas, guys. They exist year round now.
Orphans are done with. They're done with it. We've already done our offer. We did our good deed for the year. We've done our deed next Christmas, maybe. All right. So Kyle keeps whining about backup. He's right, because they get caught. Red shirt guy does what red shirt guys do. They die. And Ham and Kyle that were caught and brought up to the mothership, which we then transport our next scene back to the Resistance, and we get good old Donovan. They did what? Bang! It's the locker. That was a great entrance.
Donovan's usually like, let's come up very like gung ho, like action, like let's save everybody.
Right.
But I feel like this time, I like that he stops and has a talk with Farber about Ham going off all hack cocked because usually Ham's a bit more planned out.
Right. It's the kind of little flip. Donovan would be the one that would be impulsive. If Donovan was there, Donovan would have gone after the converter. He knows that. I do like Donovan versus Chris. It's a good like one-on-one situation. Of course, Donovan cuts Chris off at the end point. Chris just kind of walks away quickly. But I had to point out again, Donovan does the gun thing again that he does when he's either focused or mad. He starts yelling at somebody. Those aren't just prisoners. Those are instant promotions. He turns around, sits on the desk, grabs a gun, and puts it back in. He just checks the ammo.
It's a good period. It makes a point.
That is true. Nothing really. He's got something to do. Damn, that's that period made.
Although he might be overusing it, he's over punctuating
At times.
much like Jeff Goldblum over pauses.
Over pauses, or does it just enough?
Just enough, PLD. You're right.
All right.
And you know what else Dr. Ian Malcolm does? Has his shirt unbuttoned. You know what?
I think Jeff Goldblum just likes Mark Singer.
I think you're right.
I would think we should have an interview with Jeff Goldblum and say, "Did you watch Fee?" And we're talking when you were going out for Ian Malcolm. I don't know.
Ian Malcolm, he's got a little Donovan in him.
I feel a Donovan in him. But all right. All right, so we have Willie's new job when he's suddenly on the radio, listening to transmissions, I guess.
Yeah.
They don't really introduce that. The funny thing is he's like sitting at a typewriter. So like it's not anything high tech at all. It's just kind of like a radio. I don't know what's going on with it, but he's overhearing something that's coming through. So
and you know what? I like that Willie's so important. We see that in this episode. We hear that in this episode. Willie is very important. I don't remember where they are though.
That's exactly what it is. They're in the basement of the Club Creole now.
Okay.
And that's the thing. Now they need to find stuff for Willie and Elias to do because they can't be upstairs. Willie tending bar and cleaning glasses. Like that's all he ever did was be up there with his apron on, using the bender. And
I was gonna say PLD. Let's not forget his smoothie craze.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So they got to find stuff for him to do. Now Willie is this guy, or Elias actually goes on a field mission for a little bit for this episode, the first time since probably the final battle, I think. Oh no, he did have that. I'm sorry, he had that one episode where Glenda convinced him to get off his butt, and he almost got killed for it, of course. I'm looking at it though. As I got in the background after Elizabeth offers to trade herself for Kyle. I see Robin in the background. This is a very Robin-lite episode.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
For the audio listeners, I said with a huge smile. Predatory smile. Oh, I have teeth showing that I don't even have in this smile.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, you can tell it's a good episode when you don't have any complaints about Robin. I look at them and think I don't have nothing to complain about Robin's episode.
Well, Elizabeth, she learns that Ham and Kyle have been abducted by the aliens, thankfully not being probed, although Kyle almost. Anyway, yeah. And Elizabeth's like, exchange me for them because she's dumb. And Robin just says, absolutely not. And that concludes Robin's role in this episode.
Yes. Oh, no, she does have one more thing, but it's not a line. It's more of a...
She has just the one line. That's good.
That's good. No, we're not going to talk about it anymore.
Okay, I am silencing her.
I'll try to put it back. Wow. Silencing women. Lego, I mean, come on now.
No.
It's the 80s all over again.
And you know what? Let's be real, okay? In Batman, you think about all the Robins. My favorite Robin also killed, okay?
Oh, you're a Jason Todd fan, huh?
I'm a huge Jason Todd fan.
Interesting.
Right?
What are your thoughts on Tim Drake?
You know what? I like him quite a bit. I don't like Damian Wayne. I do not like Damian Wayne.
I just yesterday read The Lonely Place of Dying, the introduction of Tim Drake. Again, first time in a long time. And I do like Tim Drake. I have
not read that one.
Oh, that was good. That was a good one where Tim Drake discovers what he comes and he investigates and he knows who Batman and Nightwing are and everything else. Yeah. But Damian Wayne, I've never read too much, and I kind of stopped reading comics for a bit. I'm going to go back and read them all. But what I did read of Damian Wayne, I also wasn't overly impressed by. So,
But you know who's often silenced? Robins.
that's true.
Robins are.
That is very true. Going back to V.
And
Robins.
all of the Robins were better off once they left Batman and became someone else. Nightwing, Red Hood. Tim Drake became
I think they call him Red Robin.
Red Robin.
Is he Red Robin?
Yeah, he is Red Robin, but I feel like has he done anything else? I've not
kind of Robin
into his lore.
He's still Robin. I think he's still called Robin in a way, but he's kind of on his own without Batman. Robin.
Cassandra Cain was is her best when she's without Batman. Stephanie Brown has been a Batman at one point. She's better when she's spoiler. Now there's another one, Carrie
Kelly from the. She's from the.
I'm not super familiar with her though. Probably better when she's not a Robin.
I don't know if she has anything after Legends of the Dark. That was such an alternate universe, alternate future, or whatever. So I don't know.
I like alternate.
No, that's true. So we're having a Batman podcast in the middle of the year. I hope you enjoy Batman. Maybe Batman talk someday. All right, but going back to this episode after we've silenced our Robin.
I'm just making connections.
Absolutely. So I just got to bring us back eventually. That's what I think. That's my job here. It's bad for that to be my job because I tend to do tangents myself. So
I haven't listened to your and PJ's most recent episode. Of Friday the 13th. You think you did 7?
Yes,
but I noticed it was 2.5 hours.
Yeah, there's definitely some talking. There's definitely some conversation.
And I'm assuming some of it was about Doctor Who. Am I right?
You may be right. That'd probably be a good guess. You're not wrong. No, we did get to gush about Carrie versus Jason for quite a while as well because we both loved that. Loved that installment. In fact, spoiler alert, that's my favorite Jason so far. Since we're ranking Jasons, he's my favorite Jason so far. The first Kane Hodder experience.
Yeah.
So, all right, back to V, because that's what you're here for here.
So, Diana wants to incinerate Ham, which I think is kind of extreme.
Yeah.
But that was right. She's right to do so. Something that bothers me, and I'm sure it bothers anyone who's watched more than 2 movies in their life, is when the bad guy has the good guy captured, and they just let him sit around. No. Hurt them immediately.
Yes, get rid of them. Ham Tyler is one of the biggest pains in your ass. Get rid of him. Now, does Charles have a good plan in a way? I'm going to say he had. I think the overall idea of what he's doing is good. I'm not sure the specifics.
Can I say no?
The Manchurian Candidate aspect of it is good. That's what I mean.
Can I say no?
Here's
my reason why. It never works. If Charles had watched any, Earthling media, he would see the brainwashing never works. I just watched Gen V, not to spoil anything, but let's just say there's some brainwashing in there. Want to know if it works?
It doesn't work, huh?
Doesn't work.
Fair. Okay.
Even when people have powers and you're in a murder world where everything is violent, gory, and awful, it doesn't work. Brainwashing doesn't work, guys. Just doesn't.
And so, okay, you're right. And actually, Diana is the smart one here, which is not usually her style. Not that she's not smart, but she is usually the one that does something that you're like, come on, Diana, get rid of him.
Honestly, I wish that they had maybe gotten someone that they were going to kill off or write off of the show and had her just kill them, because that would have been so much more ballsy. And it would have made Diana more evil and cool.
I agree. And that would have been a better way to kill off somebody that's going to eventually die. Spoiler alert.
No, I like the way that he was killed off, though.
No. Oh, no. I'm like, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like way. I'm talking in the future kind of thing.
I'm just saying maybe she should have killed Julie, and it would have been funny.
Yeah, Julie getting killed at this point would have been interesting. That's for sure. Although, quite frankly, she was the heart of the resistance. It's kind of tough seeing that as much.
But I mean, she doesn't do anything now.
In the weekly series, that's what I'm saying. In the weekly series, it's hard to see that for sure. It's amazing how quickly that changed, though, going from the miniseries to like 10 episodes into the weekly series. I got to throw out one little nugget of information here. When I watched this when I was younger, actually, I'll throw out 2 nuggets of information. First off, this was like a time I could not. I had technology difficulties myself, so I couldn't get my VHS to work, but I could get my camcorder to work. A big VHS camcorder. So what I did is I set up my camcorder and taped the TV screen so I could watch it later on. So later I'd watch it. I'd watch my taped version of the TV with all the background noise of me
You
talking over
know,
it and
I've
stuff. That
seen some
exists somewhere.
movies that look like that's what they did.
That tape exists somewhere in this life. I'd have to find it. It's pretty funny, especially because at some points I'm actually talking to the screen and getting mad at it. As a kid.
I've done like watch-alongs and stuff, so I've seen me reacting to a movie, but it's just funny.
It is. The second nugget of information is before subtitles for the longest time. Kyle, Diana says something about killing Ham, and Kyle says what and throw away winning hand. And I thought as a kid he actually literally said what and throw away winning ham. Like there's a winning ham, like first prize choice for a ham. I don't know. I thought that was actually a better lie.
So I have the propensity towards mishearing things a lot. It's kind of like my daily thing. So sometimes I hear like what my brain decides I've heard is a lot more funny than what's actually said. But with this episode, I actually had subtitles because I bought it, and it made me realize I have a really hard time understanding anything Michael Ironside says. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, oh God, I love subtitles. Subtitles are the best.
I love subtitles as well. Some people don't like them. I don't get that. I love watching subtitles, especially for something I haven't seen or I have seen a lot of and still don't know. I mean, they can sometimes spoil something if they're come on too quickly. Like you watch an episode of something and like a character is supposed to make a big appearance. And all of a sudden the subtitles say that character's name who's saying the dialogue, even though they're off screen. So you know it's that character before they go on screen. Not in V necessarily, but like.
Nah, it still helps me.
Okay.
But again, I have a hearing issue, so it's just much easier.
I get it. So I mean, I do watch everything with subtitles when I can. So, all right. So after that, they're being taken away. We get the announcement that the Prospero is coming in, and Charles is coming in, and I made a quick note of lovesick V's. All of a sudden, we have all the ladies on the bridge.
Oh,
which
okay,
are never
that's
there.
something I wanted to say too. So there are a lot of women now on the ship in like positions that we haven't seen them previously. And I gotta say, when Diana took over, she said, "Who runs the world? Girls."
At least
And
for
more
the one
importantly,
episode. At least for the one episode where they can be there, so they can be lovesick when Charles is announced coming.
you argued with me on this PLD, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it again. The 80s were the worst. Okay, they're not the worst, but the past was the worst. The past was just the worst.
We just weren't quite as enlightened. It is what it is, and we're working our way trying to make it better, slowly but surely. Whether we're achieving it or not, that's a totally different story. But that's another podcast.
And not to be a little sexist myself, I did notice Diana's hair a little flatter this episode.
Yeah, I agree.
A little flatter, not sparkly.
Yeah, where's the glitter?
Doesn't got the glitz. Doesn't got the
I wonder, did somebody get fired because they didn't get enough glitters? Yeah, I think the prop person must have been fired though, or something. Like they didn't get the glitter. So, but all right, Charles will come in. We get to the very famous docking bay pan, which we see every episode, and we get to see the Prospero coming into the mothership again. Recycled footage from every episode, pretty much, where a Skyfighter comes into the bay. And then we got some cool things. We get the white uniform visitors to showcase that Charles is much more than a normal a visitor trooper.
Is this like the Red Guards in Star Wars?
I kind of think that's what they're thinking of. Although we did get to see Diana in that white uniform earlier on in the season. So
I mean, hers is better.
Oh, by far. These are just white. You know what? I'm just thinking about it. I think we actually got the white uniform. They were like, wasn't the cook wearing the white uniform in that Visitor's Choice episode? I think about it.
I thought he was just wearing white overalls.
Maybe he was just wearing white overalls. Maybe I'm just thinking ahead of myself. Either way, I guess it's not that important.
Maybe their uniforms aren't one size fits all.
Maybe
they're
that's what
sizes. PLD.
Damn them. So Charles shows up and basically takes control. Diana's trying to push him like, "How long am I going to be here?" Well, until I win the war, basically. So you get the first '80s cliche. Yes, Charles is in charge of our days
Charles,
and our night.
is that with Alyssa Milano?
Charles in charge. No, that's with Scott. That's the unfortunate one with Scott Baio.
Oh.
You're thinking of Who's the Boss. That's the one with Alyssa Milano with Tony Danza.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize those were two different shows. All right.
Educating Leo every step of the way. Charles in
Now I
charge of
have to
Scott Baio and
rewatch.
Nicole Eggert.
Now I need to
Anyway.
rewatch Community and get that joke for the first time. It's fine. But I will say Charles walks out. He's this 6'4". Again, his shirt is down open to his navel in this like and he's wearing like the floofy shirt, looking like he's like Fabio, ready to go ride a horse into every woman's foggy, beautiful early morning dream. Like, be wary. Those visitors, ladies were right. Like, if you're a straight woman, you're gonna get pregnant just looking at him.
Oh, absolutely. And he even had an earring, which I thought was an interesting choice. That a visitor male has an earring on his lizard, on his human. He puts his face on.
Also, I'm pretty
makes
sure
a
it's the left
choice.
side.
It is the left. It is the left side. I wouldn't talk about that. I wouldn't even talk about that. But
I mean, I did
that is
look it
true as
up.
well.
He has been married to a woman since 1979. Just
Okay,
checking.
fair. Okay, that's fair.
But I do like the wink wink.
I have wondered though, in universe, the visitors decide to put earrings on as men as well. So I guess they're progressive in a way.
Hang on. I got other things to say, but I'm gonna say them now. Later on, we see they have a gym. Okay.
We get the
And we
spa.
see visitors working out. Okay. And you know what? They're not in their human stuff. They're in their regular lizard faces. I was so happy. I was so happy.
Can I tell you that when you said that, like whatever it was last episode, the episode before, whatever it was,
I've said it so many times.
I've thought about it. Like in my head, I knew this was coming up. I'm like, wait till she gets there. See, that's why I made sure you got this episode. You'd have to see that part for sure. I couldn't quite imagine. I just had to describe that and you missed it. We're in a lizard spa and you see visitors in their normal lizard skin. Lego.
And also, I want a lizard spa. I would love to go to a lizard spa. Just hang out with some lizards.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. As long as they're well fed, I don't want to be eaten.
But I did like a line Charles says, which is, "I came to conquer, not to dine."
Yes. That was all part of
really like Charles. I can tell I know he's only in a few episodes, but I'm enjoying him quite a bit.
No, Duncan Reger, I actually really enjoy him too. I think he's a good addition, and it definitely shakes up the top, because Diana has been kind of a little stagnant ever since Lydia left. She's kind of on her own, uncharged.
Ever since she tried to kill Lydia, you mean?
I mean, she tried to kill Lydia, being the important thing, because quite frankly, yes.
Failed.
A few seconds later, we do get the return of Lydia after Diana claims that she had a big investigation into the death of Lydia. And all of a sudden, Lydia shows back up saying, "Oh, and what did you find out?" And Diana recovers pretty well. Does not respond too awfully to the fact that Lydia is alive, considering she thought she was dead.
Diana always recovers really well. You know, I think when you're that smug, you can always mask your actual feelings.
It's true. She's never completely off, because she's always thinking ahead. Okay, it's almost like she's like, I don't get surprised. I just have to think, okay, this happened. Now I got to figure out how to make this okay for me now, and how do I work this out now? At this point.
Hair is so big because she's so light on her feet. She's just defying gravity.
Lydia's hair actually seems a little big this week as well, a little bigger than usual. She stepped off with a big blonde fro.
It's not a mullet.
No,
but it's something.
It is something for sure. So the big news from this speech, as Charles, Diana, and Lydia walk around, is that Diana is been replaced to a degree. She's been demoted back down to science officer, though she was during the miniseries.
Now,
and she's under Lydia now instead of over Lydia. Lydia's in charge of her now.
I got a thought.
Okay.
If you're Diana, put yourself in Diana's heeled shoes and sparkly hair. At this point, do you just want to go do science stuff and say, you know what? Being in control is a hassle. I am tired. I'm not winning. You know what? Let them lose for a while. Let's see how they like it. I'll get my revenge on all of them.
That actually,
I'll just go chill in the lab. Screw
that
this. I'm out.
that's not a bad. That's not bad at all. I don't disagree. If I was her at this point,
And
please
then
do
just
something.
sometimes cut back to Diana just eating a mouse, laughing at them. Like give her the Statler and Wardroff treatment.
Hey, just cut. You got to cut to her like just hand picking out the next ensign that she's going to lay with because that's what she does in her off time. Whoever she's going to dine with and then lay with. It's all good.
I mean, just having her with that that's why all the guys are gone and the women are in this ship.
She's gone through
She's
them
killed
all.
all the men. She's a praying mantis, or she's a Black Widow.
Black Widow.
She's Debbie from Addams Family Values. She wanted a Malibu. No, she didn't want the Malibu lizard. She wanted the ballet.
Yes, yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah,
lizard, and this just ruined her life. That's why she's always wearing leotards. I figured it out. That's why she always does the glitter hair. I've got this, BLD. I figured this
You
out.
are writing it out perfectly. I want to see this. I want to see more of this. I want to see a spin-off of this at this point. But either way, Charles is in charge of our days and our nights, and Diana is pushed down below Lydia. But Charles decides at this point he's not going to let Diana kill her prey, and he wants to do the Manchurian Candidate, and it's pretty much set in place that Lydia is going to go down and bring the new microchip computer thing to the conversion chamber, which is going to, I guess, do everything new with it. Diana then is supposed to send a transmission to the legation about Lydia coming down. She is informed that the resistance are overhearing of their communications. And of course, Diana, quick as a whip, says, well, okay, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And proceeds to call directly. Now, here's the thing. How often, I'm betting that Diana doesn't often make these kind of transmissions herself, right? Kind of thing. Like she doesn't call down and say, oh, Lydia's coming. So blah, 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 blah. So when Willie overhears this transmission, by the way, it's not even like it's crystal clear. I don't know what kind of intercept they're using, but it is like crystal clear, like she's like Willie's standing right next to her when she says it, pretty much. Willie doesn't recognize her voice and doesn't go, why is Diana doing this?
PLD. Do you think Willie has that much wherewithal?
Hey,
you're so nice to Willie.
You saw him say you be nice to Willie. He's a fighting master. You saw him protect Julie's body.
Yeah, and that doesn't actually have anything to do with his I think he's a good listener, but I don't think he's a good
intelligence officer. Okay, all right, that's fine. So Donovan, Elias, and Julie go and kidnap Lydia. It's interesting how that works too. Somehow they attack the limo driver, knock him out, or at least tie him up, and they drive up right to the Skyfighter. So that's what I question is like, where does the Skyfighter land? Why doesn't it land like in the field next to the legation? Where does it? I'm wondering what I know I'm looking too far into things, but I'm kind of curious as to what I feel like there should be a Skyfighter directly to the legation, shouldn't there be? Wouldn't you think there would be for them? I mean, when they brought Julie down,
like a helicopter pad kind of thing. Yeah.
When they brought Julie down in the final battle, right there. So where are they? They're landing. They have to take a limo somewhere. I mean, I don't know. Not a big deal, I guess. It's like you got to look through it.
And where do they have
Plus? That's exactly. So then we get Donovan interrogating Lydia, and it's of course again where Donovan is much better at what he's doing. Against someone who probably should be
dumb.
That's what I'm trying to say. Lydia, how does she get where she is in the visitor army?
I think it's just the visitors are so dumb.
I mean,
it's
ridiculous. They're trying to do the whole Donovan pulls the whole jealousy angle, trying to get her jealous of Charles and Diana, which is, of course, the other 80s faux pas. They're using their Prince Charles and Princess Diana. They're definitely going that route. That's why his name is Charles, I'm quite sure.
If you gave me 100 years, would never have made that connection.
Just wait.
I'm of a different generation. That would never have occurred to me.
I wonder. Keep that in mind in a couple episodes. There's a time that when I see another episode, maybe you will more, but we'll get there. But yeah, Lydia is dumb as a stump in this one. She should not be ahead of any kind of military operation or any kind of operation.
I honestly just think that the lizard people aren't very smart, PLD.
Could be. It could be. So
and also, maybe I kind of imagining them like Drax from the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like a lot of them, I feel like maybe Diana is like the only smart one.
You know what? I think you might be right. I don't remember any others. Pamela was a little smart at the time.
Well, Martin, I guess.
Martin.
R.I.P.
Yeah, Martin was. Martin kind of. Yes, you might be right. Oh well, yeah, Jacob, of course, the scientist Jacob. He was pretty smart overall.
Was he though? I mean, if he was really smart, he probably couldn't have invented a bracelet that didn't require him exploding himself. I'm just throwing that out there.
I think you're asking a little too much, though, for got to be that. If that is the time that he has to be smart to do that, I mean, come on, that seems like it's a. Could you do that? Are you? I think you're smart, and you couldn't do that.
He invented it. I'm going to throw something out there that may shock you. Out of everything I've ever done in my life, I have been able to always find a way not to explode myself. So clearly,
all right, that's a good counterpoint.
That TLD.
That's a good counterpoint. All right, we'll leave that there. We'll leave it as an impasse for now. We'll discuss more later about smart visitors versus dumb visitors, and whether Lego blows herself up or not between now and then.
Great.
Know. Hey.
You've just cursed me. Well, now I know my horrible fate. PLD,
well,
your fault.
If we don't have an episode in a couple of weeks, it's because Lego exploded. I will apologize in advance.
Man, I've related myself to Wile E. Coyote too many times. This is cosmic. How
about that?
Karma.
Cosmic karma.
I'm too tired for this.
All right, let's continue then. All right, so next up scene is actually after they interrogate Lydia, is we get to see the beginnings of the new conversion process without Michael Ironside in a leotard of any kind. He's just sitting on a chair with some nice little lights over his hand.
Yeah, they look like those like bracelets you'd wear as a kid. If you like cracked them, they'd glow.
Right. Yes, like glow sticks. That's what it is, pretty much. And we did kind of see this conversion process before with Jacob a little bit. There was kind of like they kind of used it a little bit, but I don't think it was full on.
Yeah, I feel like that one maybe had some rainbow lights or something.
Yeah, I think that was more of like we're not converting. It's more of like a just getting you to do what we want you to do kind of thing. I don't know. This is more of a. What was that? Well, I mean, like more of like a short term thing versus.
I felt like his was more like pain.
Right.
Like we're giving you a migraine, which honestly, that would have me talking too.
Absolutely. I fucking hate migraines. Oh my God. But okay, what did you like about this conversion process? Did you
tell
me about it.
All right. So they have him tied up essentially with glow sticks, and they draw Mike Donovan and with Ham's missing wife and daughter, presumed dead. And they show him Donovan with the wife in a kissy kind of way. They're oscillating.
I'm sorry, I don't mean.
And Ham's freaking out, and they're making him angry at Donovan. Honestly, I thought it was really sad. I didn't know. I wrote Michael Ironside could cry. I didn't think he had tear ducts, and he's very upset. He has a very intense look on his face that I haven't seen since Scanners, which makes me think he probably could have exploded Charles' head in that moment if he really wanted to.
Ooh, yeah.
He is radiating rage, and Charles keeps turning up this. I guess it has a maximum of 650 that they can go to, and they get to 644.
Right.
So they are really pushing this man to his limit, and he breaks down. And I think Mike Donovan, or well, Mark Singer's acting
Having a
was.
having a blast. Come on,
I
he's having
mean,
a
I
blast.
I was really struggling to come up with a word to describe. I wrote he's acting kind of like kind of a sleazy douchebag.
Hmm.
I guess that is the terms I would use to describe him. But he's just rubbing it in Ham's face that he's with his wife and daughter, while he's freaking out, and they get him basically to have a phrase that, when spoken, will cause him to kill Mike. Which,
Right.
okay, it is the Manchurian Candidate, but listen, he's the Winter Soldier, and I think that if these movies were made back then, Michael Ironside definitely would have been Bucky Barnes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Not just the catchphrase, they also use the ring, which is a kind of a cool technology there
Yes,
too.
so the
It's a ring
ring
that
makes this kind of sound which kind of,
primes them.
destabilizes
Yeah.
Ham and gives him kind of a migraine. He hears this kind of low hum that agitates him, and then when he hears the words, what was it? Something like, "Where's my son?
There's my
There's
son
my
now.
son." It'll cause him to shoot
Donovan.
Donovan. But
Um,
I like Charles' plan. I think it was maybe too many steps.
a little overcomplicated. Yeah, it could be. Absolutely
I
could
mean,
be.
he was no Baron von Zemo, but it was still a lot of steps.
There you go. Fair. I will say the conversion process at that point, it is kind of weird. You're making Donovan into this sleazy douche guy, which he's not. So does that not invalidate a little bit? Because he's not necessarily that guy. But Ham does have that kind of underlying antagonism with him, even though
I
he
don't
respects him.
think Mike would ever, ever get with his buddy's, you know, companion.
Especially, he would not kiss her and go, good stuff.
Yeah, that was insane. I had to pause it for a moment there, like, whoa, really?
I laughed out loud at that moment. I think Mark Singer had a blast getting to do that because it's not what he gets to do as Donovan. So it's just like I think actors have a love getting out of character and doing something completely different. And this is what he gets to do. Good stuff. Acting like a total douche with
Yeah, he said a lot of
the
interesting
headband.
things. I thought
Yeah,
it was great.
yeah, he was good. It was really good. I
I think
actually
that
did like this conversion process. So I did think it was a kind of in a way more meaningful and better than the one that they did in the miniseries, to be honest with you. Cheaper and
I
easier, but just as effective, I think. So
yeah, but I think at the end of the day, that kind of I don't know what word to use. What Diana was doing with Julie, where she was essentially um, kind of breaking her to get her
yeah,
to trust them more. I
right,
do think that long term, that is much better and as a potentiality to have a much more long term effectiveness than
right,
what they did with Ham. Because after he kills Donovan, then what?
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I got definitely get what you're saying there. I'm sorry, as far as like visualizing and everything else for us,
Oh yes,
but
concur. Yeah,
although I will say the one thing
the
I'd give
nude
the
leotard.
original one, the one thing I'd give the original conversion process is the big chamber is a little more intimidating than just the chair with the
See, I
lid.
disagree. Put someone in a
Okay.
small box.
Okay.
That's gonna be a lot more terrifying.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'm sorry, the nude leotard was just not it. It just wasn't it.
Well, if they were gonna convert Ham Tyler in the final battle, then they wouldn't have been that. But because they had Jaffe
I
Grant,
mean,
that's what it was. Let's be honest.
if you think about it, if they just brought out the nude leotard, I feel like man would have been whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. I'm not getting in that. You will have to kill me before.
I feel like
No.
Donovan would have jumped for it and would have gotten in it quicker than anybody else.
You would have lost fingers if you tried to put that man in that.
And Mark Singer would have been gladly trying to go, I'll do it. I'll do it. Because Mark Singer would have been fine with it. He would have loved it.
I think that would have made this episode X-rated.
Oh my God.
I
Can't
mean,
imagine that.
you'd have to do a lot of camera angles.
That's a good way to put it. I like that.
I think the guy who played the prince in the live action Cinderella that came out a few years ago, I think they had a similar issue where they had to do a lot of
Yes.
angles.
because it was very yes, he was very forthcoming. We should say, as it
Yes.
were. Um, all right, so Ham is converted, or at least like brainwashed to the point of being a Manchurian candidate. So now Charles and Diana have to meet with Bates to try to set up this whole plan. Well, the whole plan is they're going to have a exchange of prisoners, Kyle for Lydia, and they need intermediaries. They need Bates to be an intermediary, which I guess makes sense. Bates is the de facto guy in charge.
Yeah,
Um,
especially since they're broadcasting it.
right. They want to broadcast it on air. I do like
Which
Nathan in this episode. I do think Nathan shows his best self because he's kind of like, whatever. I can't. I mean, why would they believe me? But once he knew his Kyle was involved, everything changed for him.
Yeah, I had a few things with this. First and foremost, so it's Mr. Chang and Nathan meeting with Charles and Diana. I'm so confused where Charles was totally okay with like, oh, you have like an open city and we're working with this human dinner.
Right. Right.
He's dinner. Why am I
Right.
working with him? Why do I care? He's dinner. So
Right.
I was a little confused on that part, and I wish there had been less camaraderie and like going with that. I did feel bad for Mr. Chang because this guy fucked up because Kyle got abducted.
Yeah.
um, I
Yeah.
love that Nathan called Ham. He said we're mortal enemies, like he's eighth grade.
Right. That's funny. That's actually funny.
But I also like I guess this is the part where I was like, oh, the plan kind of didn't make a lot of sense to me because it's like I don't quite get why showing Ham shooting Donovan
It's
on
gonna.
air, how would that dissolve the resistance?
It's a morale thing. I guess they try to. In comics, I know they had a long time ago. They had Civil War. The death of Captain America was supposed to be a big thing. It's supposed to make them
But
lose
doesn't that just
morale.
make people rise up more?
That's what I would think. There's the martyr aspect of it, right? I guess the idea is that if you kill the leader, if the one leader of the resistance, like there's a triumvirate, according to this, the way the V world works, as far as I can tell, there's a triumvirate of Donovan, Julian, Ham. Those are kind of like the big three. And so if one of them is killing the other, then you lose Donovan, who's like Donovan's kind of the figurehead. He's kind of the best known resistance fighter
Is
out there.
he?
I think so. I mean, well, he's in some way, unless
'Cause
unless
I
he
feel
needs
like
to
a
break into
couple
the mothership,
episodes ago, some people were holding him at gunpoint because they didn't think he was in the resistance.
so unless he needs to break into a mothership. Well, yeah, that's a good point too. You're actually right. Maybe they don't know what he looks like though, so maybe like they only know his name. I don't. I
I'm
agree with you.
very
It's kind of
confused.
weird. It is very strange. I guess like the idea would be to break the morale, but I don't see how it really does a whole lot. So it's one of the things you kind of gotta, I guess, it's just okay, Charles. We'll see what happens there.
Oh,
At worst,
but further, the fact that Kyle's the prisoner, it doesn't make sense that Nathan would be the intermediate person because he's clearly not a neutral party if his kid's the prisoner. So you're exchanging him. So your kid's still now he's just with the resistance. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like why wouldn't the exchange go to him? I'm just saying I have many follow-up questions and they're not going to get answered.
I see. I think the idea for the Nathan side, I'll pitch it out there. The fact that if it was any other prisoner, then the resistance wouldn't trust Nathan to do it. With
No, I meant in terms of like from Charles' point of view, broadcasting this,
oh,
you have a intermediate neutral party, but it's his kid that's the prisoner, so
mhm.
that doesn't make sense. That doesn't work.
Well, Charles is very arrogant and thinks he can control the situation anyway. He thinks he can do whatever he needs to do. That's even at the end of it. He's like, one point there's a line in there, they'll believe what we want them to believe. So
Mm.
Charles is definitely the most arrogant visitor we've seen in a long time, probably since Diana or maybe even Stephen was even more arrogant potentially, but back in the day. So I think that's what you would have to chop it up under, maybe.
Mm. I don't know. I feel like, if you're an invading alien and you're going through all this trouble, wouldn't you just make a real big, crazy move and just like, I don't know, execute 1,000,000 people and like, all right, want to listen now? I'll do another 1,000,000 tomorrow. Maybe I'm just mean. Like I wouldn't have these problems.
No, you would definitely be a good leader of an alien invasion. We'll keep that in mind if we have to invade somebody at some point.
I'm a strategist.
Fair.
What can I say?
Yeah, that always kind of struck me too, though, the fact that Ham shoots Donovan's face. It's like, okay, so that proves what? It's a fucking cardboard thing, but okay. But going back, we go over to the Resistance. We get to see Donovan. This is actually a pretty good scene. A little bit of scene where Chris kind of, even though like they're pleading their case, Chris pleads his case to go get Ham. It's not like Donovan and Julie are not saying they want to not get him. They just can't. They're saying they can't like just have a frontward assault on the legation to get him at this point. But Chris is like, listen, Ham got me out in Nam. I got to help him out. Which is like, it would be it's a good piece of work of dialogue. I think it's well said by Chris, by Mickey Jones. But like, it doesn't seem like it needed to be said because Donovan's not saying, no, we're going to leave him there. He's like, no, we want to get him. I agree with you. We want to get him. We just got to figure out the best way to get him.
It is a little clunky.
I do like how Chris delivers it.
Yes,
it's the clunkiness of why is he necessarily delivering it. That's the issue, really. To be honest with you, what's made worse, and I'm going to tell you, what I think what makes the whole thing worse is Elizabeth's following up. I just kind of like almost like she like wants them to remember. Well, we got to get Kyle too. We have to do something. I know Kyle wouldn't desert us. That was a very clunky line, very clunky delivery by Ms. Cook, who I do generally like. Yeah, it's kind of a weirdness there.
but these writers aren't great, if I'm being honest.
That's true. That's true.
And I don't know if they didn't care, they weren't getting paid enough to care. They're just not like the most talented people. It was too many people, not enough people. Like I don't know what the issue was, but these are just not it.
I honestly think for me, the whole thing about it, and it's this entire series in a nutshell, is that there's so much potential with what they're doing. Even if they're shifting away from the fascism angle and doing a more episodic thing, there's potential there that they just keep fucking up by being lazy about things. That's the main problem. I don't know if it's a lazy by choice or lazy for other reasons, like if they're rushed or I don't know what it is. But for whatever reason, the writing does fail them, and that's the problem. Speaking of that, actually,
and not to say the 80s were the worst, because they weren't. There were worse times. But the past was the worst. And I'm just so grateful to be alive today and have the television, like have the evolution of television just getting progressively better and better with like breakout shows showing people what, television really could be.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of writing issues, and we talked about this before, I'm going to throw it out there for our audience to see what they think as well. So Diana gets to go visit Kyle.
Yeah.
And tries to seduce him, I guess.
Yeah.
Kyle prefers to sit in the gravity chair.
This is the second time at least that this has happened. We've seen them together and it got a little
frisky.
Heated. She, seems like she finds him attractive or could use him.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm just like, Kyle, run. You're in danger, girl.
But I don't understand. I still understand what is it just pure because like Dinah, I almost feel like before Dinah had because Kyle was seducing her before in order to buy time for the Resistance to escape in that episode, if I remember correctly. So this time, Diana's seducing him, but she goes to him to seduce him. So is it? I guess it must just be an attraction, right? That must be all it is. It just feels like Diana's almost like it's like almost beneath her, almost. It just seemed kind of weird all of a sudden. But the whole thing is, she leaves Kyle up from the gravity chair, and Kyle pushes the guard down into the gravity chair after Diana storms off, and Kyle gets to escape. Now, my problem with this, which we're going to come out later on, is I don't feel like there's any need for this subplot at all to happen because nothing happens because of it.
See, but the thing is, PLD, again, we have to show that Kyle can escape. We also need to set up, I feel like, I don't know if it is for sure, this is just a guess. We need to set up that the vents are bigger and still don't have locking mechanisms. Plus, we want to show more Kyle. So
Yeah, the last
I
part I think
liked
is what
it.
it is. I think the last part is what it is. Like Kyle, they need to get Jeff Yeager. He's there on scene. They're paying him. We got to get him to do something, even if it's just basically filling time for the most part. But you know what? It's fine. I never really thought about it until this critical watch along, so or watch through. So maybe there's a reason why. If I didn't think about it before, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe I'm looking into it too much. But I did just notice it to be a little strange. Um, so Kyle runs off, and we get, which is maybe my favorite part of the episode. Speaking of really randomness and really mind, like what is going on here? Donovan and Julie and Elias and Willie come up with some kind of plan to get him back as he's being transported from Science Frontiers.
I mean,
And what is
I'll be
there?
honest, I lost the thread quite a bit.
Well, what happens here though? Willie dresses up in a big rodent mouse outfit with
Yeah,
a
he does.
sign that says "Free rodents here."
Free road or live rodents, all
Live.
you can eat.
That's what it is. Live rodents, all you can eat. Okay.
He's a
Um,
bit embarrassed, he's like, if my mom could see me now. But he does admit that he has a little bit of chameleon blood in him.
you mean comedian?
No, chameleon.
Chameleon. That might be my favorite line Willie ever gets to say. He says the right word, the word he's thinking of, and gets it right, despite them thinking he, of course, got it wrong. I did appreciate that exchange. So my thought process here is, all right, I'm going to have to give into it. The visitors are dumb. You're just dumb. They're driving along a prisoner.
They're
They see
just
this.
dumb, PLD.
They see a sign of a guy in a mouse costume and a sign, and they open the van. They stop the van, and they go to eat free live rodents because this can't be a setup in any way possible. And sure enough, Willie gets them under control, and Willie holds them up while Donovan knocks them out, and we get him back.
It's just but also they wanted him to get abducted, right?
The funny thing is, like, if that wasn't kind of yes. Here's the thing. Later on, Charles says, like, Diana tells Charles about this, and Diana says, "Oh, this happened." And Diana tells her about, and Charles says, "This is the kind of competence of why I am here and why I'm here to take over. But I guess this will work better for our plans." They were going to place him in the resistance. Like, so if you told me they had it right there, if you come up to the next scene is Diana going up against Charles and going, "Well, we wanted the distance, broke them free. Oh, good, our plan worked."
Yeah, that's what
That
the plan should have been.
That's what I'm saying. That makes sense. And that's like, okay, you can get over them being dumb and stopping for the mouse. Sure, okay, that makes sense because they want him to get caught back. But they don't even do that right. They actually say it actually happened. They doubled down on it, Lego. They doubled down on it.
It's just so confusing and dumb. Yeah, didn't get it. Didn't get it. Didn't follow.
Okay.
Didn't track. See, I lost the plot, PLD, but I think that's because they did too.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. They did too. All right.
Oh, wait, can I say that Diana has the ship combed for Kyle? And whenever I hear this, I just think of Spaceballs combing the desert.
Combing the desert.
Every time I hear that, I just imagine a giant comb just going through.
We ain't found shit. And that's true. That's true. The visitors don't find shit. It's not until later on that happens. So they get him. Kyle gets some more vent hiding first. Of course, he does knock out the guy, gets the visitor uniform by bringing him into the vents. And they get Ham home, or to the back to the Club Creole. They start talking to him a little bit, trying to figure out what's going on. Elizabeth does this weird, like, I'm going to go in front of you and talk to you.
Jedi.
Why? It is a Jedi thing. Definitely she's sensing something wrong. I do like Ham going, what's wrong with you? It's very, very Ham-like, which is cool. I like that, but then Julie tries to relate, which I like even more. That's the makes
I liked
sense.
less.
Oh, okay. Tell me why you like
I
it
don't
less
know.
then.
It's like someone said, let's give Ham some room. And Julie immediately comes over and puts her arm around him. Girl, what part of room did you not get? Like, this man does not like being touched. What do you think you're doing? And yeah, she just tried to relate to them because she's been through the conversion therapy or thing. But they don't know that Ham has been through the conversion.
I feel like Ham must have told him on the way to Ham that he got put under something because it just seemed like they're making a lot of assumptions otherwise. Or maybe they are.
I think they are.
Maybe they are. And they
I think
are.
you're giving too much credit to the writers here, PLD.
Well, you know what though? If Ham is acting like he's acting, maybe Julie was there, she might know why. She might go, "This feels like this is what happened," and then Ham's not denying it. So, but either way, okay. Well, I actually liked it. I appreciate it because I think it's very much in Julie's character. Because Julie is the one who's always going to be trying to make
I also
everything
think
work.
it's very out of character for him because we saw how he treated Julie, right? You know,
Right.
she's compromised.
Right.
So, and I get maybe that he's not capable of assessing that about himself or admitting that about himself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think everyone should be aware that the fact that he isn't saying anything about himself to that degree is a major red flag.
Yeah. At the same time, I think it's kind of like it could be a little bit of Ham is a tough SOB, and kind of like what Chris says. You know, Julie got through it. You can get through it. You're a tough guy, and so they all think of Ham as the toughest guy. I think Ham is on the exterior is the tough son of a bitch. So of course Ham can make it through. He seems okay. He seems like he had a rough time, but he's always come through. So I kind of think can see them assuming. I mean, poorly. It's a poor assumption, obviously, but I can see them assuming that he'll get through it. But I don't know. You know what? Let's get out of this. Let's talk about the lizard spa because here we are at the lizard spa. Kyle jumps headfirst in the lizard spa because of guards in the hallway. I love this lizard spa. I want to go to this lizard spa. I want to hang out with these visitors. I want the rock or the sun can beat down on me that they're talking about. Everything about this just screamed like this is great. All the way up to the point where they try to give Kyle the mouse.
Okay, so yes, I definitely wrote that down with a lot of exclamation points. And I just couldn't help but think, do you think Kyle was going to eat the mouse?
I had that written too. That's exactly my question I wrote because he looks like he was going to eat it. Like he literally
He has it.
He has it, and he actually lifts it towards his mouth before Diana walks in. And
I mean, if I'm being honest, at that point, I would just be like, you know what, guys, you caught me.
you got it. That's it. I'm done. And the funny thing is, in reality, this is a show. Could you have just said no again? No, I'm on a diet or something. No, I'm good. I'm good. And especially the guys are like, "Looks
But
pretty
also,
good."
like,
Here,
I would
go
be
ahead.
like,
You
I'm
have
at
it.
the gym, guys. I don't want to eat while I'm working out. You gotta wait 30 minutes.
Right? Anything like that would be good.
You know, life lesson from working out at a Marines gym. Working out till you feel like you're gonna puke is a good workout. Working out till you actually puke is a very bad workout. Stop before you throw up,
Okay,
guys.
good to
I'm looking
know.
at you, Marines.
Good to know. Good to know. I did like that lizard guy after Diana catches him. The guy's like, Diana, always up to something.
Yeah, I like how they're so nonchalant. Like, I see, that's what I'm saying. If we cut to like a Wardroff and Statler situation of like, you know, having other, you know, visitors comment on stuff, it would be so funny. Like, listen,
I
if you
agree.
can't make a good show, make an entertaining show.
I agree. I agree. That could have been entertaining, but alas, we don't. All right, so we get this broadcast that we're talking about. Charles is going to broadcast to the world. They have Kyle, and they're going to try to trade her for for Lydia. Now here's my question: what is Charles trying to do with this speech? Like, is he trying to reset the game? Does he think that we are so dumb that a little speech can be like, no, we're not really the bad guys here. It's been all misunderstanding.
Like, yeah, what is the point of that? We all know that you're eating people. Like, girl, what is the problem?
This is like, I mean, like bringing it back to the World War II, like right back to
Like,
the original days, like Hitler talking to the Jews, being like, misunderstanding. It's all it was. It really is misunderstanding.
but it's
Come on,
not.
I'm
It's
your friend.
worse than that. It's like you can't reason with an apex predator. Like
Right?
if sharks were taking over, because we've all seen post-apocalyptic commando sharks, right?
Of course.
So when the sharks are, they're trying to like take over, you can't talk to them. They eat
Right.
us. We're their
Right.
food. Like you're not gonna reason with that.
Right. And to act that it was like not only just like not even apologizing, it's a misunderstanding that it didn't happen. It's like I ate your friend, and no, that didn't actually happen. Um,
Yeah, no amount of gaslighting is gonna work here.
yeah, not really. Yeah, unfortunately, fortunately for Charles, unfortunately. So we get Kyle on the screen, and he takes his moment to declare his love for Elizabeth, which really got to be creepy now because you're declaring your love on TV to the 2-year-old. Just saying, in general, you're broadcast to the nation that you're in love with a 2-year-old. Um,
And what did Diana think of that? Because she
that's
knows
what I
who
want to know.
Elizabeth is,
Yes, that's what I want to know.
and
Did
she
she like
wants
that?
the star child. So
Oh, you know what?
she's trying to get now that would be a more interesting love triangle.
Mm, would have been almost had a quadrangle, almost had a rectangle there for a bit. If Robin hadn't gotten toned off, it would have been a rectangle. There's Diana,
Oh,
Elizabeth, Peter, Robin, and
Robin's
Diana.
not even entering my mind, PLD. It's just wild for you to assume I would think of Robin.
I knew I was bringing it up because I knew you weren't thinking of it. That's exactly
Mhm.
why. But I bet you Diana's perverted enough and kinky enough. She's probably like, yeah, that's cool. That's pretty cool. We can get Kyle Elizabeth together, and then we can get more hybrid type babies in there somehow. I don't know. That's probably what Diana's thinking though. But Elizabeth starts crying, and that is where Robin steps in for the second time. I know you forgot.
I
She
don't even
steps in
have
for
a
a second.
memory of this happening. I honestly do not remember this at all.
She is very sad for her daughter, and she leads her daughter away while Julie, Elias, and Donovan have the rest of the conversation about whether they should do this or not. Of course, they agree to do it because that's where we got to go. Now, the funny part about it is Donovan says he has a friend at KDBHB who can keep it on the air for them. Where was this friend before?
Mike has news connections, PLD, because Mike's a newsman.
Yeah, but where were they like during the final battle when they had to have Martin talking?
They weren't a resistance fighter. They're just a cameraman, just like
Gotcha,
Mike
gotcha,
himself.
gotcha. Okay, fair, fair.
Like Mike had to have had other friends, back in his before times that are still
fair.
alive. LA is a big city, man. You
Yeah,
meet
I guess
people.
so. I guess so. All right. We do have the next bit is the Christingham conversation, which I really did like. I really did
Yes.
like. I feel like it just was a very good, likely conversation between two old friends and Chris, maybe being sexist about it a little bit, saying that Julie's tough. You're much tougher than she is.
I didn't look at that as being sexist. I looked at that as being he's Michael Ironside.
That's true. That could be. That
Like,
could be.
find me someone who's tougher than that.
That's a good point. But I actually really like Michael Ironside stopping and being like, maybe not. And like seeing Ham doubt himself is a cool angle to see. I wish we kind of got into that a little bit more. And spoiler alert, I wish we kind of got into it a little bit further on. This would have been a cool angle to have followed again, television wise, a couple of weeks, a couple episodes down the line, like have it linger a little bit or have
They
this
never bring it up
at least
again,
in
do
depth.
they? Oh,
Not
jeez.
at all.
I
It's like
also,
it never happened.
of course, I also really like the music they were playing in this scene. It was very kind
Yeah.
of like haywire, kind of out of balance, like
Yeah.
dissonance. It sounded like a backwards radio station.
Yes, I agree. I agree. It's something that it was a choice that they made that really kind of added to the tension. I actually really enjoyed it. Good choice there. I will see. We give props when it's deserved for sure.
For sure. Like the
Overall,
music has always been
yes,
great.
yes,
And based on
absolutely.
my knowledge of music, I will say I'm very grateful they didn't have the budget for any needle drops that I would get confused by. No one can get mad at me for not knowing any of this.
Good point. Very good point. I don't want to have to educate you during the review here at this point. I'll save that for the other show. All right, so we get to our little action beat, which is the big action finale, which was kind of a fun action moment overall. We get to the sports arena where the prisoner exchange is going to take place. We see the resistance having an announce at last minute. They got there and kind of set their traps to cover their backs, as in case there's some kind of some kind of issue that goes on, some kind of kerfluffle, which of course is going to happen.
Oh, there's always a kerfuffle.
There's always a kerfluffle. The first time we get Nathan and Kyle getting a scene together,
Yes.
which was good. It was a good sequence for them. Bates came off genuine, like really genuine for the first time in a long time.
Definitely.
And Kyle kind of like took it to heart and didn't have like a smart Alex thing to say. He kind of was like, all right, I'll think about it, kind of thing. It was a good character moment from Nathan, and I'm
Yeah,
glad they got it.
he warns him about the danger, and I like that he starts off if and then changes his mind when something happens.
Right.
Stay away. And that, after everything is said and done, he wants to talk to him, and he kind of acknowledges the mistakes that he's made.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly what specifically, happened in their relationship. I think it was just kind of Kyle is a very sensitive dude, and he has pretty strong morals, and
Yeah.
he just doesn't like the person that his father is. It doesn't look like there was any kind of like something specifically he did. It was just, his business practices were evil, and he didn't want any part of that. And I like, at the end of the day, though, his son means more to him than any of that.
Yeah, even if he's a workaholic guy, probably kind of saw him as a workaholic, wasn't home much, kind of thing. Then he made some bad choices. Obviously, he made some non-moral choices. But at the end of the day, even though he has made those mistakes, he's man enough at this point to admit, you know what, maybe I made some mistakes, and maybe Kyle is more important to me. I should take the time to work this out, and I'll have to see. It'd be interesting to see how that happened. But then we have the rest of the episode where they start the whole prisoner exchange. And we get a situation where Donovan walks up with Lydia, and Ham goes to keep him honest. And the code starts happening, and triggering things starts happening. And of course, no one notices Ham sitting out there with his gun raised, except for Elizabeth. Of course, Elizabeth sees him.
Oh, dear.
And yes, little Miss Deus Ex Machina comes into play again and uses her Jedi powers to knock over a lamp which Ham happens to be standing near. And instead of Ham shooting Donovan, Ham ends up shooting Nathan Bates.
And I think that's because they could no longer afford him in the budget.
Maybe. You'll have to see.
But Kyle running over to his dad and the screams, honestly, it was really sad. I make fun of 21 Jump Street quite a lot, but his emotion there was really palpable. And I would say that was probably his so far, that was probably some of the best acting we've seen on screen with him and with Michael Ironside in this episode.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I'll actually throw it there too. I think Mark Singer did a really excellent job during this action sequence. He was not quite, even though he was 1980s action hero, like last action hero, I'm going to be the one that saves the day.
He is
gets
totally
out.
G.I. Joe embodied.
He is, but like his dialogue during that, first Ham like knocks him out. First of all, I go back to, I love when Kyle, like you said, Kyle like breaks free from the visitor, like chucks Chang out of the way, like, which is funny. Chang's like, what the hell's going on? And Kyle's like, push out of the way. Julie goes over, tries to help him, and Donovan just comes out of nowhere and is like, get him out of here, or you guys got to go. And Donovan's like just trying to save the day and get everybody out. It's a great little action sequence there. There's gunfire everywhere. Chris is setting bombs off. He's trying to get Ham out. Julie's trying to protect Nathan. Donovan's like, yeah, it's a great, fun little. This actually reminded me a little bit again of the final battle in a way. I kind of felt like we don't get to get these big action sequences like this in the weekly series. I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. I did like Donovan being the last one out. I got to be honest, like as a Donovan fan, Donovan the whole everyone was just kind of out. Donovan is still coming. Julie's like calling.
I like that Chris had Farber and Donovan was
Yes.
the last one out.
Yeah, Donovan's still firing while everybody's out. Donovan gets to the point, and the lasers come, and then the bomb come, or the explosives come, knock out the visitors, and they get away. Interestingly enough, so we don't get to see him after that.
Yeah, and then Charles, Diana, and Lydia right away in a white stretch limo.
Mm-hmm. It could have been worse. He could have shot Lydia or you, as Diana says. And there we are with our thing. And that's my big point. A big problem with the thing is, considering we don't get anything more about this from Ham afterwards anyway, we should at least gotten something with Ham afterwards, because we have nothing about him after this happens.
Yeah,
sorry, Mike. Sorry,
someone
Kyle.
confronting him, or Elizabeth, like, hey, why'd you shoot at him? Question mark.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I minor spoiler, there is actually one line later on that is kind of brought up about it. But it's brought up in such a way that's like, so we really did you really have this discussion about this? Or did it just kind of go on? I don't know. We'll get there though, eventually. So yeah, that ends the episode. Overall, I enjoyed it for the acting of Michael Ironside, for the acting of Jeff Yeager, for the big action sequence. It was definitely a fun episode. The introduction of Charles is campy. We got the Good Lizard Spa. Overall, this was actually kind of a fun episode, even if there were a lot of what the fuck moments and, and stuff where like, oh, God. It's poor writing, good concept, poor writing, especially. Basically, and it's like the same as every other episode, it seems like. Some good concept, poor writing.
I totally concur 100% with everything you just said. Like, there was some funny beats, there were some poignant moments, and great idea, not well executed.
Absolutely. That's the problem. That is the problem with this series in a nutshell, unfortunately. Luckily, it's entertaining enough for me to do it. I'm doing a show on it, so I'm entertained enough to keep going. That's the fun point. I do point my fun out. I will say, next episode, from here, there is some fallout, just not in the Ham side of things. So look forward to that.
Hopefully we see some stuff going on with Kyle next episode. I mean, it can't be 100%. It can't be 100% episodic. You know,
right.
If we don't see any fallout from Kyle, like, my kindness towards the writing is going to evaporate.
All right. Well, I would just say I think you will still be kind enough for now.
Oh dear.
I think. All right, we'll get to it. All right. Any last thoughts on the episode or anything like
that? Just that. I don't believe I'm saying this. I felt real bad when Nathan Bates died, and now I'm hoping that this is what unleashes Chang, and he goes full on. He goes full. Can you tell I can't think of the word I'm trying to?
I'm
John Wick.
trying to help.
He goes full John Wick. There we go.
John Wick. Okay, fair enough. We'll have to see. That'll be next time here at reView in a couple of weeks. Lego, where can the folks find you?
I can be found at YouTube at Legoland13. All other social media links are connected through that, such as the Rob Fishback Network, which I do a show every other Thursday, and any other fun stuff I do. Again, you can find it all there, all linked around.
Excellent. And hopefully you'll find me on the Rob Fisher Network soon. Rob and I have some discussions about coming on, and or at least a couple different kinds of episodes. One just a music episode in general, maybe one Lego episode, and maybe one even more maybe more letterbox editions of Lego as well.
I do. I've been starting to do a series called "What Makes a Movie Good," and I'm having different guests on, and we talk about like movies on our Letterboxd, where we try to talk a bit positively about ones we've rated low, and trying to find some flaws in ones we rated high, and get a little bit more existential, but also kind of take the piss out of each other.
There you go. That's good fun. That's always good fun. You can find me here all over PLD projects as well. We get to do, like I said, every other week we got reView. Every other week I got Two Media for White Dudes on Film. Me and PJ going through the Friday the 13th series. Next up, we already got New Blood. Next up, it's as we retitled it, Jason Takes a Cruise instead of Jason Takes Manhattan, because that makes us like the film a little bit more, frankly.
Well, because no one's going to take Manhattan better than the Muppets.
Absolutely. It's already done. Sorry, can't do it anymore. Fair enough. Also, you can find me on PLD Project's Crown Jewels, where I do my Queen podcast every week. We go through every track on the Queen catalog. And Holy Snokes, where me and Maddie Gunner talk Star Wars every week. That's it. So, yeah, if this is your first time here, like it, subscribe. Let us know what you feel in the comments. Got a lot of people starting to visit the older episodes now, kind of catching up. Glad to see people there, leaving some comments here and there. I'm always happy to talk about some more things there. If you want to help out even further, PLD Products has a Patreon, patreon.com/PLD Products. You guys really help me keep the lights on, fund all of this stuff for me. You can join such stalwart crew as Austin Cadell, Jeremiah Morris, Matthew Kearns, Brandon Buckingham, Jeff Alterman. Couldn't do it without you guys. Really appreciate you guys. Nothing else to be said about that. Stay tuned until next time. And of course, always, Pretenama.